Today I'm going to present on cyber law. This is the part 1 of the topic from the syllabus. The objective of this part is we need to understand what is the need of cyber law, know about IT Act 2000, understand IT Act 2008, and also get to know about some issues when we talk about cyber. What is the need of cyber law? Basically, when everything started, people started working on internet globally. uh, People around the globe felt the need for something like a act or a law which provides a recognition to the digital community or recognition to the communication or the records or the electronic way of transfer of messages, transfer of information, uh, to get the proper authorization. In that case, the people around the globe needed to think of cyber law or a law which talks about some legal perspective to the digital transfer or to the digital community. So basically, it all started with recognition to electronic communication, legal infrastructure for e-commerce, regulation of computer-based transactions, bringing internet technology under the umbrella of law. Also, some cybercrime aspects were covered. So basically, the need of cyber law came into existence because people started communicating over the internet. People started communicating, trading over the internet, sending messages, communication, transferring of information over the internet, and they felt the need of having a legal perspective. Surely, so a defined discussion on this happened in India. The government of India discussed about these things, and they involved the higher authorities, the government agencies, the big giants of the business industries. All these people came together, and definitely the uh, law professionals. So everybody came together, and then they deliberated over this technological aspect to be brought under the umbrella of law, or to add some legal perspective to the technological aspect. So with due deliberations by all the authorized or government representatives, the IT Act came into existence and it was actually made available or applicable from 17 October 2000. Thinking about or talking about our connection with the cyber law, basically we are interested mostly in the cyber law relation with the cyber crime. So the moment people started working on the internet, people started interacting through the digital technology. There were at the same time there were people around who were trying to do some illegal activity using the internet technology or using the computer as a tool or as a target. So in that case, it became difficult that how to trace those people, or how to provide some legal action to these people. Because when we talk about crime, we talk about a crime in the real world, it is there are many hypotheses connected to the real world crime, like the uh, criminal has will leave some traces, the criminal will always have some plan of action, and these things are very well known by the investigating officers or the police officers, and that they have a proper line of action which is to be taken when a crime is committed, and how to investigate the crime and how to prove the crime in the court. But the moment we talk about cybercrime, all this hypothesis fails somewhere, because when we talk about cybercrime, it is activity which is conducted using a computer, using the internet space or the cyberspace. What do we mean by cyberspace? Cyberspace is a space which is not owned by anybody. This is a very important factor. It is not owned by anybody. You cannot say that a person has committed the crime at this particular location. It is very difficult. The crime has been committed at a particular location, is committed on a particular location, but it is very difficult to find out where the crime was committed. But still, with the advent of cyber law, surely the cyber crime or the cyber criminal definitely comes under the umbrella of the cyber law, or the we'll see the IT Act. The law takes care of the criminals, or of the people who are doing illegal activity using the computer. Yeah, so when we talk about the legal perspective of cybercrime, now cybercrime is been rising day by day. You all know, due to this COVID-19 situation also, there has been a immense rise in the number of cybercrime cases. When these cybercrime cases are coming up, it has been coming up a lot in the last decade actually. And people around the globe, different countries have talked about different coming out with laws for cybercrime. Now, different countries have different set of laws for cybercrime basically, and different countries have more than one law for the for cyber crime, or for a crime which is conducted using computer as a tool, or computer as a target, or the internet landscape. But when we talk about India, India has right now we can say that India has only one law, that is IT Act 2000, and this law cannot guarantee 100%, cannot guarantee 100% that the cyber criminal will be punished. It has immense set of laws, sections basically, which are applicable to the cybercrime, committed cybercrime, and the punishments are viable. But still, it is not 100%. That means there are loopholes in the cyber law which is applicable to the cyber crimes in India. Types of cybercrime. Cybercrime can be against individual, against property, against organization. I'm not going to talk much about these things over here, because I'm sure you might have gone through all this different types of cybercrime, different categories of cybercrime by now, and I hope you are well versed about all the different cyber crimes which can be committed by the cyber criminals, technical or non-technical, or by using social engineering skills and all. Okay, so the Information Technology Act 2000, which is also known as the IT Act 2000 or the IT Act, is the act of the Indian Parliament notified on 17th October 2000. There are 13 chapters, 94 sections, and the law applies to the whole of India. Persons of other nationalities can also be indicated under the law if the crime involves a computer or network located in India. This is very important. If there is a crime conducted by on a person who stays in India, but it was done using a computer which is outside India, then the IT Act 2000 may not be applicable to them. So this is one of the point where there has been much of the debate about the judiciary. When we talk about crime, so always the police officers are adhering to the rules and regulations, that the crime has been committed in which location or which area. But that goes away when we talk about crime committed on the internet. The act was the act originated by amending the various sections of the Indian Penal Code, that is IPC. Now, IPC is a rich uh, set of IPC has a rich set of sections, laws which are applicable to all the people of the country. The IT Act 2000 was definitely originated or definitely created by amending various sections of the Indian Penal Code. 1860, Indian Evidence Act 1872, Bankers Book Evidence Act 1891, and Reserve Bank of India Act 1934 to make them compliant with the new technologies. All this, the Bankers Book Evidence Act or the Reserve Bank of India Act, these acts are basically talking about the different transactions, financial records, and the liability and the assets involved in the financial transactions. These acts were already in place, and the IT Act was developed in compliance with this act to adhere to the new technologies. Yeah. Furthermore, the law provides detailed information about electronic records, as I already told you. It defines many computer and law related terms which can be surely used by lawyers to win the cases in the court. It provides recognition to email as authorized communication channel. Before this law, email was not considered to be the authorized communication channel. If you know, for now we are using WhatsApp intensively, but WhatsApp is not considered as an uh, authorized communication channel, wherein email is. So, email was given the authorization by the IT Act 2000, and there are many things which are there in the IT Act 2000. So the IT Act 2000 also talked about it came out with different regulatory authorities like the Department of Electronics and Information Technology, controller of certifying authorities. Now, what is the certifying authorities? When we talk about electronic records, it was decided that digital certificate should be made available to people who want to transact over the internet or perform transactions trade over the internet. So the government of India authorized organizations to act as controller of certifying authorities, CCA, to provide certificates to individuals or companies, and then they were called as digital certificates. So if the person has a digital certificate, then he is authorized person or he is a trusted person to communicate or to trade with. Similarly, the IT Act 2000 also came out with Cyber Appellate Tribunal. The Cyber Appellate Tribunal was created or was organized for the purpose of discharging its functions under the IT Act, the same powers as which are exercised by the Civil Code under the Code of Civil Procedure. Then the IT Act also gave birth to this agency, we can call it as Indian Computer Emergency Response Team, and this is also called as a nodal agency. And the purpose of this agency is to become the nation's it has become the nation's most trusted referral agency of the Indian community for responding to computer security incidents as and when they occur. So whatever cyber crime, whatever computer security related incidents happen all over India are reported and are responded by the certain. Yeah, I was talking about the nodal agency. So this is the link for the nodal agency. You can go over there. They respond to all the computer security incidents coming up or happening around the country, and they give daily updates about how many incidents have taken place, what is the status, what is the statistics. All this is the responsibility of the nodal agency. It is an authorized agency by the government of India. Coming to the sections of IT Act pertaining to cyber crime, which we are more interested in. This, as we said, that it consists of 13 chapters, 94 sections, but only if we view or if we are interested in the sections which are specifically covering up the cyber crime, the crime committed by a evil person, evil by a criminal, okay, by a hacker or a attacker, in a, whatever words you want to mention. So the crime committed, and what part of the cyber law is applicable to the cyber crime, that we are more interested over here. So we will be very briefly talking about these crimes. Uh, I have attached the link for going into depth of of this law or section. You can definitely go through it whenever you have time. Um, so section 65, it is talking about tampering with computer source documents. So if any person uh, tampers the computer source code, operating system code, or whatever documents are there, which are the source documents inside a computer, then the section 65 is applicable to that person. There is a punishment, imprisonment up to 3 years, and or a fine up to 2 lakh. For each section, there is some imprisonment and some fine. I'm not talking about all those things over here because there are other things which we need to discuss. But definitely, for each section, there are uh, listed punishment and fine as such. Section 66 talks about hacking with computer system, that is illegal access of the computer system and damage of any information, any data over the computer system, that comes under section 66. Again, it has some imprisonment and some fine. Under the exercise democracy, and we have freedom of speech. But the moment you give this freedom of speech, people start saying anything, and over the social media it becomes difficult to control. So the it was deliberately added up and discussed a lot, wherein the offensive messages which makes round over the internet. So the government wanted to curtail those messages, and because of which, under the IT Act 2008, section 66A was came up. Section 66A came up, which is talking about punishment for offensive messages. And there has been n number of cybercrime cases, and which are liable under to which section 66A is applicable. So when the part of cybercrime cases comes up, there you will get more detail about it, or if you can just google it, you will get n number of cybercrime cases which are under section 66A. That means section 66A is applicable to those crimes. Okay. Section 66B talks about receiving a stolen computer or communication device. If any person is having a computer or a communication device which is a stolen one, then he is liable to 66B. 66C, punishment for identity theft, all types of impersonification. That means all types of wherein you use somebody else's password, wherein you use somebody else's identity on the social media, and what you say, it comes under identity theft. Then section 66C is applicable for any types of financial fraud. If we understand phishing, comes and like, if phishing takes place, then section 66C is applicable. As such, phishing is not defined, is not a defined term in the cyber law or IT Act 2000 sections or chapters, but it is a cyber crime, and section 66C can be applicable to it. Even section 66D can be applicable to phishing crime, because it talks about cheating using computer resource. And section 66E, it is very important that if private images of other people are published over the internet, over the social media, then section 66E is applicable. Section 66F is talking about acts of cyber terrorism. It is also an act which was amended in by IT Act 2008. Uh, the government agencies or or the people felt the need, or the authorities felt the need of special section for acts of cyber terrorism. Cyber terrorism was there was being committed, and hence section 66F needed to be amended in the IT Act 2000. Imprisonment under section 66F is life imprisonment. Other sections of IT Act: section 67, publishing information which is obscene in electronic form. uh, 67A, publishing images containing sexual acts. 67B, publishing child porn or predating children online. This was again amended by IT Act 2008. If you people are interested, you can go and look for COPA. COPA is a law which is specifically taking care of uh, cyber crime against children, against kids. Okay. Um then coming to 1667C, failure to maintain records. If any agency, any organization does not maintain records, then they are liable to section 67C. Here I would also like to tell you about when this IT Act came into existence, some of the people were not happy, in the sense that they called it as a draconian law. Now, why they called it as draconian law? Because when this law came into existence, it was binding on all the organizations or the industry to follow information security standards. Till then, there was no standard which was supposed to be followed by the organizations or the industry. But once this act was made applicable, available, the organizations or industry were bound to keep all the records, all the information, all the data about customers in some cases safe, and they have to follow all the norms of the information security standard, like ISO 27001. So that became difficult for, at that time it became difficult for the industry to pertain to these laws. But nowadays all the organizations, industry, companies who are using the digital platform for day to day work, they are adhering to all to the information security, some or the other information security standard. So if they are not following the standard, if they are not able to maintain records, then they are liable to section 67C. Yeah. Section 68, it is failure or refusal to comply with orders. So, if a individual or an organization does not comply with the order of the government, then Section 68 is applicable. Section 69 talks about failure or refusal to decrypt data. Suppose a person is like the government suspects that this person is a criminal or is a cybercrime suspect, and is not ready to he has encrypted all his information, his computer data, and he's not ready to decrypt it, then section 69 is applicable to such person. Section 70, it is talking about securing access or attempting to secure access to a protected system. So, a person who secures access and not giving the access to a particular to the computer device or to the electronic device from which information can be extracted about the crime, then section 70 is applicable. Section 71, penalty for misrepresentation. So this, in the under this section, if a person provides false information to get the certificate, digital certificate, then section 71 is applicable. Uh, then came IT Act 2008. So from 2000 to 2008, there were people found out many loopholes in IT Act 2000, and were not getting proper way out to bring all the cyber crimes under the umbrella of law. And that's the place where amendments were requested for, and it came up in the form of IT Act 2008. It was passed on 22nd December 2008 without any debate in Lok Sabha, and it was next day passed by the Rajya Sabha. It was signed by the then President Pratibha Patil on 5th February 2009. But since it was passed in 2008, it is called as IT Act 2008. What happened in IT Act 2008? New terminology and definitions were added like electronic signature. Now, in IT Act 2000, digital certificate is mentioned, but digital signature or electronic signature is not specifically mentioned. So, certificate is a part wherein I get a certificate, I have private key, public key, and then I have to get it certified by the certifying authority. Similarly, digital signature is the exact what you say synonym for your personal signature when you put your signature on the hard copy. Similarly, your there will be your personal signature which will be in the electronic form. So digital signature and digital certificate were made technology neutral in IT Act 2008, and digital or electronic signature was given importance. And IT Act 2008 mentioned the definitions of all electronic devices, communication devices, wired, wireless, everything was brought under the umbrella of IT Act or IT Act 2008. Specifically, cyber cafe and cyber security terms were coined in the new law book. Now, before IT Act 2008, cyber cafe was not mentioned, and during this from 2000 to 2008 there were many crimes which were committed from the computers of the cyber cafe, and then it was taken care of in IT Act 2008. And it was also talked about the intermediary, the cyber cafe owner as an intermediary, or as a person involved. So the punishment or the act is liable to him also. Here, one more thing changed, that is the investigating officer. The investigating officer in IT Act 2000 was of the rank of DPS, and but in IT Act 2008, the investigating officer rank was that was considered to that of a police officer also. So a police inspector, I mean police inspector. So for now, each and every police station, each police, the police station in each and every area are taking or are registering cyber crime. Some years back it was not the case, there was a special cyber cell, but now each district has a special cyber cell. They have their special website. Again, one more point over here is, again, it is not necessary that you have to be of that locality. Cyber crime can be reported in any police station. This is very important. Cyber crime can be reported to any police station. It may or may not be in the jurisdiction of where you are living. It can be reported in any police station. This is very important. Further, so some of the resources for cybercrime reporting, these are the this is the Government of India portal specifically for reporting cybercrime. If you go to this portal, there are many information. There are awareness information. There are training information, and much more is involved is included in this through this portal. And for Maharashtra, for cybercrimes of Maharashtra Cybercrime Cell is having this Twitter handle wherein people can tweet their cybercrime cases, and they are well handled with. The Coming back to Maharashtra cybercrime cell, for Bombay it is in Bandra Kotla complex, and many cases are registered on a day-to-day basis, and they are handled to a higher extent, and the police officers are given rigorous training of how to handle cybercrime cases. And even professionals are involved along with the police officers in handling the cybercrime cases. Though I should say that the what do you say, the statistics or the speed of solving the cybercrime cases is too low. But yes, they are getting solved. That is more important. That cybercrime cases are getting solved to a some extent. I would like you to go through some resources. Like these are the websites which will give you more information about the sections of the cyber law, the exact definitions of the sections, the imprisonment, punishments, the fines, everything in detail you can get on these sites. Data protection right is very important. As I told you earlier that different countries, like outside countries, they have different laws for different types of what you see security breaches. Like there is separate law for information security breach. There is separate law for computer security breach. There is separate law for personal identifiable information security breach. So GDPR, it talks about personal data, personal information. So we, on our day-to-day basis, we provide our information to many of the online sites. Okay, so or suppose for example Amazon, you provide your detail whenever you want to purchase anything from the e-commerce website. You have to give some detail when you want to purchase. You will have to give your credentials or credit card information and all. Sometimes you need to give your birth date and all. So now when you give any information, the companies which are taking this information from you, they have to take care of what you say, protecting this information. And if they are violating this, or if they are not able to protect the information, then the data protection bill, which is supposed to become the act, will be applicable or will be liable on them. So these other sites are about the will give you information about the different, about the data protection bill, which is doing rounds in the parliament. It has not yet become the act. It is in process. It is being referred in the Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, or in the Parliament. Okay, so you'll get some more information about it. These are the resources which you can anytime go and explore and get more details about the cyber law. Yeah, so some issues when we talk about cyber law is there. IT Act 2000, IT Act 2008 is there. More amendments are expected, but the most prominent issues which is there among the citizens are citizens are not aware. There is no publicity. There is no massive awareness campaign about the cyber law or about the cyber crime. And again, if people come to know that they are the victim of a cyber crime, still there is a lack of awareness or knowledge about where to report the crime. It is the whatever information we are sharing, or I'm sharing, this is because we are into this field. We are working day in and day out on cybercrime, cybersecurity. But we are attending conferences and all. But it is very difficult for a common man to be aware about where to report the crime. Surely it will take some time and people will become aware. But for now, there is a lack of awareness. Again, there are issues with location of the crime. Now it is still difficult to specify what is the location of the crime. And sometimes it becomes difficult to trace the location of the crime and accordingly proceed to it. Then again, the issue, one of the major issue is the time taken to solve the case. Due to lack of traces, it becomes very difficult to solve a particular case. Given a credit card fraud case, it becomes difficult to solve that case because it becomes difficult to find the traces. Sophisticated cyber criminals are there who will leave no traces, and then it becomes difficult for the investigation. or cybercrime investigation. Then there is a cybercrime investigation procedure which is to be followed. Now this it requires a different set of skills which is called as computer forensic, and NCASE is a software tool used for computer forensic. If you want to know more detail about computer forensics, I provided you the link, and actually I have shared this link with you earlier. If you have not seen, you can go and see this video on YouTube about the computer forensic. So, computer forensic is a part of the cybercrime investigation procedure. So, it has its own time frame, it has its own timeline, and it has the report, it has to generate reports depending on the case, depending on the availability of the device, depending on the availability of the information traces, and then it has to submit it in the court of law. Now, there is one point which I think I have discussed in the video, that the whatever the report is there, it has so it if the report is generated with the permission of the government, then only it is considered under the court of law. If it is not generated with the permission of the government, then it may not be considered. So there are many what you say constraints when the cyber crime investigation procedure is carried out. So there are cybercrime investigation what you say professionals and agencies who do this procedure, and the government of India or even organizations hire this agencies to carry out the investigation procedure. And surely many of the cybercrime cases have been solved with the help of the computer forensic involvement and the cybercrime investigations. So, coming to the conclusion, I would like to say that people should be made aware about the cyber laws. As we know that digital technology is the new normal. Every time, everywhere today, you will see digital technology taking role in everyday life of all the individuals, all the people around. And yes, so the cyber attacks also has been increasing. But to be positive, cyber law is there to punish the cyber criminals. So we need not worry about it. That is what I want to conclude. We should be aware of cyber law. We should understand cyber law. We should report cyber crime, and we should make people around us aware about this about cyber law and about the reporting of cyber crime. So that is in our hands. We can contribute to the society. One simple note: weak areas of IT and cases about cybercrime will be discussed in further video.